Hi, my name is Roy Collin, and welcome to the show. I've also got five podcasts: The Awakening Podcast, exposing fraud and corruption, but with solutions; the Crypto Podcast, talking about all things blockchain, NFTs, crypto; the Meditation Podcast, talking about all different types of meditation, but there's also meditations there from 1 minute to 2 hours. And the other one is the Learn Polish Podcast. So if you're interested in learning Polish, you can do that. And the other one is Speaking with Roy Collin. And I just have guests from around the world talking about either public speaking or also about their book or just general life in general. And you'll find everything on bio.link/podcaster. I'm also a podcasting coach. And you see the QR code there, and it's also on my link as well. And if you're interested in actually going on some podcast shows, I'm helping people doing that. Or if you're interested in sponsorship, you can contact me. And I'd like to thank my sponsor, DanielPacker.com. He helps people with anxiety, stress, and addictions. He's got a 90% success rate, and you only pay if you're successful. So be sure to check him out, DanielPacker.com. I hope you enjoy this week's show. Welcome to the Awakening Podcast. You can find all our episodes on awakeningpodcast.org. My guest today is a solutions-focused health truther. Please welcome Nick Craciun. Did I do it justice?
Yes.
So you might let the listeners know. I mean, we're going to talk about health, all things health, but you might just let the listeners know a little bit more about you.
Yeah, so my name is Nick Craciun. I'm basically just kind of a guy. I'm not, some expert. I'm not some doctor. I'm not some fancy person, but I feel like that's also what makes my message special. 2.5 years ago, I was just a guy working in a machine shop, listening to podcasts all day, drinking Red Bull, super unhealthy. And I totally changed my health, turned my health around, started growing my own food, started cutting out all the crap, started detoxing regularly, started juicing regularly, and got to the point where I am now, where my health is my main focus in my life. And I am at that point where I can finally have my health where I want, so I can start helping people with their health. I really think that it's extremely important, because if you're not healthy, then you're not doing what you need to do. You don't have the energy to go where you want to go and live the life you want to live. So that's kind of where I've got to that. There's a lot more background. I dealt with depression for years. I dealt with drug addictions for years. So it's just been a whole journey, A to Z, where I've got to the point where I am now. So,
I mean, I want to delve into everything that you've just mentioned there, but prior to recording, I was asking about the thing that's on your nose. And just for those that might be listening, the video is going to be on Spotify, Rumble, BitChute, and YouTube, so you'll be able to actually see this. So you might just tell people what that is around your head.
Yeah, so this is the Aqua Cure. If you ever heard of George Wiseman, he goes on a lot of podcasts too and does a lot of stuff with it. But George Wiseman's brought a Aqua Cure, the Brown's gas machine, which is basically a molecular hydrogen machine. It basically takes the water, separates the hydrogen and the oxygen, and turns it into a gas so that you can breathe it in. So molecular hydrogen is the smallest molecule that there is. It's H2. So it's the smallest that you can really get. And it's able to get into the blood, able to get into the body really well, just gets into the cells and just pumps you full of energy. There's, a number of benefits. There's a thing where you can hook it up to some goggles. If you have eye issues, you can hook it up to your eyes. There's a thing where you can hook up to put the hose in a bag. If you have foot problems, I had a really bad work injury last year, and I put it on my foot just to kind of help heal that up, helps heal scars, just helps anti-aging. There's a numerous amount of benefits to it. I don't even really do it justice. George Wiseman's out there in plenty of podcasts. He talks all about it. So he's the man. He's the real deal. I've actually talked to the guy. He's the real deal. So
very good. So you mentioned Red Bull. I know that is deadly. Not just Red Bull, but any of these energy drinks. And I remember at one stage years ago, it was kind of like, don't have Red Bull and vodka. Of course, we go into a nightclub, we have Red Bull and vodka. And I remember I could not sleep. It was such a horrible sensation. You're just lying there tired, but can't sleep. So there is a down to it. But then when I started looking into the ingredients and everything, it's like toxic.
It's bad. It has that chemical taste. I was drinking at one point. This was when I was super depressed. I had nothing going on, just miserable, unhappy. I was drinking at 1.5 20-ounce Red Bulls a day. And it's amazing my heart did not explode. I only did that for a month or two, because it obviously is expensive too. But it was bad. It was basically my drug of choice for a little while. It was Red Bull. It was crazy. I literally it was late 2021 where I literally just like weaned myself off, because I was drinking like 2 20 ounces a day. And then it went down to a 20 and a 16. And then it went to 16, 16. Like I literally weaned myself off it like it was a drug. And I realized afterwards that it was more the sugar than really the caffeine. There's not really a lot of caffeine in Red Bull compared to other energy drinks, but like the sugar content, it's like glucose. It's like, was it glucose syrup? I think I don't remember the ingredients now. But I made every excuse to be like, oh, it's better than drinking pop or something. And it's like, no, it's definitely bad. Definitely shouldn't do it. And like I think the last time I had one was months. I had one in the summer because they came out with a summer flavor and I wanted to try it just because. And it was just like I felt like crap the next day. I could like feel it. Like when you have that much sugar, it's just like, yeah, it's not good for you at all.
I think people confuse like tiredness from the crash of the drink, because and then you're in a vicious circle, because I know I see a lot of people doing that, and same with the Monster one and everything. And I mean, that's demonic if you actually look at that. Like that's Hebrew, that's 666, and there's the cross on the back that you turn upside down. Is like, but besides that, like I think people, they think it's actually helping them, but the reality is it's doing the opposite.
Yeah, I mean that's every drug, really. It helps you for that little bit of time, and then you come down after, and you're like, I feel worse than before. That's been always my experience with any drug, with anything. It's like, yeah, you might feel better for a little bit, but you're gonna feel like crap after, and then from then on, until you get to that root issue, like why you feel depressed or why you don't have the energy. One of the things is I know, like even with coffee, like if you drink coffee within 60 to 9 minutes, or like before 60 to 90 minutes after you wake up, your body's not functioning as it should. There's a chemical called adenosine. That's basically when you wake up. So it has to go through a full cycle, which is the what's the name of the word? The every 90-minute cycle. I can't remember. It's like where your body goes through the 90-minute regular cycle. It's like it's made for sleeping. And basically you have to wake up and go through a full cycle to flush out that adenosine. And if you drink coffee, you aren't letting your body go through that process. So if you drink coffee at that time, that's why you're going to crash at 1 or 2 o'clock. So you should always wait at least 60, 90 minutes after you wake up to drink coffee or any caffeine, really.
Okay. Haven't heard that one before. Yeah, that's interesting.
Yeah. The chemical is called adenosine. Okay. So something to keep in mind for a lot of people, because I know my mom is like, she wakes up, she literally has her coffee pot timed so that when she wakes up, it's already ready and there. And she's always like, I'm so tired all day. I'm just like, you gotta cut the drink, drink coffee, but just wait 90 minutes. Now, one thing too, if you do wake up and you do like a hard workout, or even if you get in the sauna and just kind of get blood pumping a little bit, then you can have coffee after. But it's kind of like, why push it? Unless you like, if you don't need the coffee to wake up, you just kind of want to be awake. It's something for people to keep in mind for sure.
So you mentioned about the work accident. You might tell me what exactly happened and how you kind of recovered?
Yeah, that's big. So July 2022, I was working in a machine shop. Basically, we were machining these big these 3-ton blocks, which turned out I wasn't really thrilled about it at the time, but they were these big 3-ton blocks for Halliburton that they were used for fracking trucks. I was just like, okay, it's my job, it's what I'm getting paid to do, whatever. Wasn't thrilled about it, but I just went on with it. And I always kind of felt weird about it. Like I worked in a machine shop for a year and a half before that. So it was a different one. I was here about 6 months. And the place I was at before did these little tiny little parts. This one was like these big blocks. And I was, take them on these cranes and move them around the ceiling. And it always really freaked me out. I always got like, a weird feeling about it. Like I'm going to get hurt here. And one day I did. It was, I was machining the part, and I just unbolted it from the table, because it has to be held down when you machine it. And the thing, it's just like one of those things that just happens just like that. Fell forward on my feet. Luckily I was on this big raised platform where the table was. And so like if I was on concrete, it would have totally flattened my feet. I mean, this was a 3-ton block. It was massive. But the way the platform was, it was kind of like pushed down the platform. So my feet were kind of like pushed down like this, and the block was kind of on the sides, if that makes sense. So I didn't get the full force of that pressure. I mean, it was bad. It was bad, but I didn't have flattened feet. I still got my feet. They're a little, my right one's a little wonky, but they're still there. But yeah, well, honestly, the craziest part about that was how quickly my employees got it off me. They got a tow motor. It was only like 6 guys. It was 6 guys, one guy with a tow motor, and then like 5 guys with crowbars, and they managed to get that thing off me, and I was able to pull myself out. So the longest part was just sitting there on the ground after waiting for the ambulance. But yeah, it was pretty rough. You know, I had, went to the hospital, obviously, emergency surgery. They stabilized my feet. But yeah, both feet were smashed, both ankles were broken because I was on this ledge, and it also like dangled me over this ledge. So it was like I was literally dangling there with my feet crushed. And yeah, I would frankly, like, every time I replayed in my head, it should have been worse. Like, I got really, really lucky. The whole thing didn't collapse. The whole thing didn't fall on me. It didn't fall on the higher up on my legs. I got very, very lucky, and I'm very grateful for it. But it was one of those things where I went to the hospital. They put me under, sedated me before they started working on me, and I had this moment where I was like, you're out of it, you're not here. But I was like, I don't know how to explain it. I was just kind of somewhere else, and I had this realization, like, this was meant to happen for some reason. This is what, I don't know what yet, but this was meant to happen for some reason. This is going to take me to the next stage of my life. It was like, I don't know if it was like this voice or realization in my head, but it was just a realization coming out of it. And so I was just really, really positive after that. I just kind of took it, obviously it sucked. I was in a lot of pain. That was the worst pain of my life by far. Actually, the next day it was really the worst pain because it was all swelled up, and it just felt like my foot was a balloon. And yeah, so yeah, they did a couple surgeries, stabilized everything, saved my feet. I was in the hospital for like 2 weeks, but yeah, and I got out. I didn't put any pressure on my feet for 3 months, but it was basically just, it sucked, obviously, but it was kind of a blessing in disguise. It gave me time off at work. I didn't enjoy what I was doing. I wasn't happy. I wasn't miserable like I was years ago, because I wasn't depressed or anything anymore, but it was like I wasn't happy doing what I was doing. So it gave me that time off. I was able to prep my microgreens business. I just took all that time, obviously relaxed, recovered, and did all that, but I just totally planned out my microgreens business, set that all up. And then I didn't want to go back to that job, obviously. So when it was time to come off workers' comp, when I was good enough to return to work, actually where I work now, the guy, he asked me to work for him. Chemical Free Body. Let's see the shirt there. No, not really, but Chemical Free Body is where I work. It's a health company based out of Oregon, and we're all about doing things naturally. The cleanest supplements you can possibly make. Everything totally natural, no additives, and we're just kind of getting that lifestyle out to people. And he's the reason I totally changed my life. That's who I found 2.5 years ago. Started doing group coaching with him, and I really think being healthy and everything, and mentally healthy, really, really prepared me for that injury. And I also really think that being positive helps so much. Because there's a lot of people that come into the hospital and be like, "Oh, Nick, I'm so sorry. This is so awful." And I'm like, no, it's fine. Like, everybody else was more upset than I was. So it was just like, but that positivity really, really got me through it. And I think it helped everybody else a little bit, because if I was just like a miserable sack of crap, just be like, "Oh God, why me?" I think everyone else would be miserable too. But I was just so positive about it. Everyone's like, "All right, you'll be fine. You'll be good." I'm like, "I know, I'll be good." So I made essentially a full recovery. I've been out, walking the golf course plenty this year, and I started a bowling league now that I'm doing. I started that on Thursdays, and
Just
I'm
make
out
sure you don't
basically.
drop the bowling ball on your foot. I think it might hurt.
Yeah, yeah. Well, one thing I have noticed, I don't remember if it was like this before, honestly, because it's kind of like before and after your major injury. Like, I don't even remember what my feet looked like beforehand, But anytime I drop anything on my feet, it really hurts. But I have all feeling in my feet, which is good, So that's because that was one of the, obviously, the concerns, like nerve damage. But I mean, everything healed up pretty well. I got some scars, obviously, but they're there, and I'm still kicking. And I mean, my health is still better than ever. So I guess I continue to get healthy, continue to do all the stuff I normally do. The sauna has been huge. My infrared sauna has been massive for my recovery, because doing physical therapy, get really sore and all that stuff. It helped so much with that. I think it really helped with my recovery just in general. So
You mentioned depression. Did the depression stop when you kind of started changing your food, or how did you kind of overcome that?
yeah. So really the main catalyst, like, years ago, was this is the only time I really was okay with a pharmaceutical, because I had taken SSRIs a few times, and it just became,
I don't know what that is, so you might let the
oh,
listeners
SSR,
and me know as
uh,
well.
selective serotonin reuptake inhibitors, which is basically a class of antidepressants that works with serotonin. So basically regulates serotonin in the brain. And for me and a lot of people, it basically turns you into this zombie. It's like you're not depressed, but you're also not happy. You're not sad. You're basically nothing. Whenever I take it, I only took it for like a couple months at a time. When I did, I tried a few different ones, because that they like to guinea pig you and all that. And it's just like a couch zombie. Like I just sit there and like, I never just sit on the couch and just watch TV. That was never, even when I was younger, it was never my thing. And I would just sit there and just watch TV. I'm just like, why am I watching Friends for 8 hours straight? I'm literally doing nothing. But I mean, it's been years ago since I took the SSRIs, but it was like maybe 2019 where I was recommended Wellbutrin, and I looked a little bit into Wellbutrin, and I'm like, this seems a lot better. And I guess Wellbutrin works with dopamine, not serotonin. It functions as like different class of antidepressant, and that really, really changed my life, because at that time I still had like struggled with addiction stuff, and when I started taking that, it felt like it almost cured my addiction in a sense, because I was getting a natural dopamine. I didn't need to search for that dopamine. It was giving me that. I mean, it's okay. It's not natural, obviously, because it's a food pharmaceutical, but it regulated the dopamine in my body to make me feel normal. Because whenever I used drugs, I never did anything. I wasn't trying to get messed up. I wasn't a big partier. I was literally just trying to feel normal. Because I was depressed since I was 14 years old, all the way up until 28, 29, when I started taking Wellbutrin. But there was obviously side effects to Wellbutrin. It increased my blood pressure, maybe a little bit angrier, like just more volatile. I was never violent by any means. It was just like it just kind of, you maybe like more, which I think was part of blood pressure and all that too. But yeah, I was on that for maybe a year and a half. And then that's when I started changing my health. I started detoxing, started eating better. And I was able to basically I quit the Wellbutrin cold turkey, because I was just like, I didn't want to renew this prescription. And I was just like, I'm just going to stop. And then it was basically no effects coming off it. I just quit, and I was just like that. Nothing changed. I just felt good. I was just, because I knew I felt good. I already changed my health for months at that point, and I was like, I think I'm ready to do it. And I just hopped off and been good since.
And
yeah, I really do think that diet has a lot to do with it. Getting proper nutrients in the body, cleaning up the body. If you have a lot of heavy metals and all this stuff weighing you down, you don't have energy. Cleaning up the gut is a big one. The gut brain matrix. Like if your gut's not healthy, your brain's not going to be healthy. So I think all that really, really tied in. And plus I was getting out doing stuff. Like I golfed and bowled a lot in high school. And when I got out of high school, I didn't really do either very much at all. And like 2020, I really got back on the golf course because COVID and all that. It was like, it's one of the things I can go do. And then I just got like really, really, really into golf again. Like 2021, I think I golfed 150 times. I'm like not even exaggerating. I golfed almost every day after work. I golfed a lot. I would go out, just walk the course. It was my exercise. It got me out in nature. It got me more grateful again. I just felt great. I just felt so much better than I had in years. So it's really.
Do you know, like when you were 14, what actually happened to kind of get you into the depressed state?
I don't know if there was necessarily like an incident or a point. It was just kind of like, I just started feeling crappy, and it just, my parents frankly didn't really help with it a lot, because it was like their parents like, oh, just be positive, just cheer up, just smile. And it's like, no, it's not that simple. Like, I'm not just gonna just smile and be happy. Like, I'm not gonna fake it. I've never been one to fake my emotions. Like, I'm pretty like, when I'm feeling like crap, when I'm feeling happy, like I'm very obvious about it. So it was like, that didn't help. And I don't blame them for anything. Obviously they didn't know, they didn't understand depression at all. No, I never went to a doctor for it. I didn't do anything like that until in my 20s. So it was kind of, they didn't understand it. I didn't understand it. So it's just kind of, that made it worse necessarily. But yeah, it wasn't really a point. But I did have my daughter helped a lot. I had her when I was 17. And I think that like I always think about it, like I've told her a lot. Like she basically saved my life. If I didn't have her, there was multiple points that I probably would have been like, I'm just done. I'm out. She really, really was that rock that kept me going through everything.
Very
So
good. So, like, I mean, with the health, because I know like sprouts and stuff like that, you started growing stuff. Was it in your basement? Like, so you might tell the advantages of that, because like some people
oh
they
yeah.
think, yeah, you go to the supermarket and everything's grand, but obviously it's not. But you know, your own experience and
Yeah, that's when I started learning more about food and everything's going on, how pharmaceuticals are tied to everything and all that. That's when I was like, I have to start growing my food. Also the whole survival thing, because 2020, 2021, I think a lot of people were like, we need to be like self-sufficient. We can't be relying on these grocery stores, and supply chains could crash. Anything could just crash tomorrow and we would be screwed. And I kind of went like, okay, I'm gonna get a bunch of MREs, dried food and stuff like that. But I'm like, no, I mean, you can have some of that, obviously. Like I do have some of that, but I think having seeds and being able to learn to grow sprouts and microgreens is way, way, way better than any canned or MRE food, that you can get. Because sprouts you can grow in 3 days, 5 days. Like if you do lentil or bean sprouts, you need just water, and then you can use a tray or a jar, and you have fresh food in 3 to 5 days. Nothing beats that. And it's the most nutritious food you can really have. You know, sprouts have 4 to 40 times as much nutrition as fully grown like vegetables. So like ounce for ounce, pound for pound, you are getting a lot of nutrients. Plus it's obviously grown cleanly, and as long as you're not using tap water, like doesn't really get much better than that.
I've seen things recently. I mean, I know the chlorine in the water is deadly. And I mean, in some parts of the States, you've got the fluoride. Thankfully, in Poland, I'm living in Poland. No, they don't have it. But in Ireland, they do, despite people trying to fight it for years. And like I saw a thing where the guy was saying with the chlorine, he had the tester and then he just put his hand into it on another glass and then put the tester and the chlorine is gone. It just goes straight into the body immediately. Like, and I mean, people, like I know that from my son, like my youngest child, he's nearly 10 now. Like every time you go to the swimming pool, I mean, it's unfortunately not all of them do it right. Like,
Yeah.
so when there's chlorine, like, and he gets sick a lot. And I keep telling him,
Yeah.
listen, it's like, it's not worth our while going here, even though it's fun, the slides and everything. It's like
Yeah.
because of the toxins in the water.
Yeah. Yeah. When I was younger, I had a lot of reactions to chlorine. Like when I go to one of a park or water park or whatever, I would break out in hives. So it was, yeah, not fun. My grandparents had a swimming pool. They used bromine, which it's all still chemicals really, but I mean you do need something, because when you have water that sits, you do need something to prevent algae buildup and all that kind of stuff. So it's kind of like a necessary evil, I guess. But
No,
I'm
there's
sure there's
I forget where they are, no, because I remember I even wrote to the swimming pool here with all the alternative. I don't
oh, there's
remember them
alternatives.
offhand. There is,
Yeah.
yeah, there's healthy,
Yeah.
yeah.
I was thinking, like, just as I said that, I'm like, I've realized that's what big thing I realized with health is that there is a natural solution to everything. There's no reason we need to do synthetic drugs or chemicals or whatever. There's a natural way to do it. Like, yeah, it might take a few more steps. Yeah, it might not work as perfect, but it's possible. You can do it, you know.
So with the different foods, I suppose let's talk about the different foods in the supermarket and then transition to what the products that you've got into through this guy Tim.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, so the biggest thing anybody can do out there, that if you're going to a grocery store, is just start learning ingredients. The biggest thing, I don't look at supplement facts, I don't look at any of that stuff. That's just all numbers, really. I mean, some of it's obviously important, but what's really important is the ingredients. Because if you get something, what they like to do with food is they advertise like, oh, 5 grams of protein or 6 grams of fiber,
Or sugar
whatever it is,
free.
sugar free. Yeah, and then you go look at the ingredients, it's like, okay, well, at the bottom it says contains a bioengineered food ingredient, but then it's like, okay, high fructose corn syrup, or what they have is the sugar free stuff, but then they have the sweetener that's so artificial they don't even have to say that it's sugar. Like it was like, I think sorbitol's one. I don't know, there's so many different, like
There's over 100. Like
erythritol,
they
and
have so many
yeah,
different names, and
yeah,
sometimes you'll have the three of them, and people they haven't a clue what they are, but they're all sweeteners.
yeah. there's sometimes where you get something and it's like, okay, there's cane sugar and high fructose corn syrup and corn syrup solids, like all in the same thing. And it's like, there's like 4 different types of artificial sugars in here. Like, what are we doing? The big thing I noticed, like, my mom and brother kind of do the keto thing, so the low carb, but then they buy stuff that's advertised keto, it's keto on the box or whatever. And you look at the ingredients, it's like, all of these are synthetic or GMO or something. And it's like, what are we doing here? It's, I don't even really, I go to the supermarket as minimal as possible. Like, I have a 14-year-old daughter, so obviously she's not going to want to eat microgreens and sprouts all day. But I just try to do as cleanly as possible, buy as organic as much as possible. But even then, there's stuff like, I've realized this trap too, like, just because it says organic on the box or the bag or whatever does not mean it's necessarily healthy. There's because I fell in this trap like last year, because I really, really love guacamole and salsa. So I'd buy like this organic guacamole, organic salsa, and I would get these organic chips from Aldi, which I don't know if I know Aldi's from Germany. I don't know if you have Aldi out there.
It's in Poland and Ireland.
Okay. Yeah. It's like as good as we got out here, I think. But they have organic stuff, and they have like organic tortilla chips. And it's just like, oh, organic, I'm just going to eat it. And then it's like, okay, well, you realize it's sunflower oil, like seed. Once you learn more about seed oils are on almost everything. There's a lot of products out there that are healthy, and you see they got like sunflower oil in it, or even worse, canola oil, something like that. So I've had to learn, it's like, okay, just because it's organic doesn't mean it's necessarily good for you.
I have an app here in Poland, and it basically, you just scan the barcode and it tells you, and it has a kind of rating. And it's actually brilliant. It's a pity. I mean, it might exist in different countries, but you can tell when it's infiltrated, because before you could even do like cosmetic stuff as well, and it would tell you like the toxins in it. But what freak you out is, like, a lot of times they're saying natural this, natural that. And it's all a lie. You can have one natural ingredient and then they use that as being natural, and people fall for it, because you think, okay, and they have their lovely pictures. The whole lot is trickery. And
it's all marketing.
Yeah. And like what I tell people is, don't go that change everything and spend so much. Just each week try to do something, or one or two things, because like, if you can't read the ingredients, don't pick it up, because if you don't know what it is, there's trickery. And even they don't have to label everything on it either. So there's times there's stuff in it that you don't even know is in it.
Yeah. One thing is, I follow a few crude rule of thumbs. Like, if you look at it and there's a bunch of stuff you can't pronounce, probably don't want to get it. If there's a bunch of words with X's and Z's in it, probably don't want to get it.
Here it's E's, is it? You have different, E102 and E202 and all this kind of. Most of them things are cancerous.
Or like the letter, anything with a letter and number in it, like polysorbate 80. That's just one example. There's like C12-14 or something. It's just like, what even is that? So those are a few cruel thumbs. That pops up more with like cosmetics and stuff, because that's a big thing that I got into too. Because I'm a 14-year-old daughter. Obviously, she wants to wear makeup. She wants to do stuff or whatever. So I'm like, okay, well, we're not going to get any of this crap from the store, because you go look at the store and it's just A to Z. Like, it's just nothing in this is good for you to put on your skin. People don't realize that your skin is the largest organ on your body, and it's constantly taking it in, constantly giving out. Like, when you sweat out the toxins. When you put something on your skin, it gets absorbed into your skin. So you really shouldn't be putting anything on your skin that you couldn't eat. That's kind of the rule of thumb to go by. If you can't eat it, don't put it on your skin, because it's going to get into your body.
And there's also the underarm deodorant, because most of them are toxins as well. Hence why a lot of women get breast cancer, because it's actually blocking the pores for natural, getting rid of the sweats.
Yeah, I think a lot of reason, there's a lot of women now that have like thyroid issues, later in their life or something along those lines. And I think it has to do a lot with makeup. These women that put on just cake on makeup on their face. It's like, you're literally just putting a bunch of toxins and chemicals over your face and just letting it sit there, and you're breathing it in. It's getting in your eyes. It's just.
Yeah, I done a video on that once, and it's like, are you dying to look beautiful? Because that's they're trying to look beautiful, but once you start looking, I had a guest on about even the lip balms, and like, they're deadly as well. So it's a case of just be conscious of everything you're doing. I mean, like in the household now, I mean, like I've got natural floor cleaning products because I like walking
Yep.
around
Of
barefoot and grounding and things like that. And you can
course.
just slowly do it. It's like the
Yep.
toothpaste as well without fluoride. And like most people, like when you're talking to them, they're looking at you like, put your tinfoil hat back on. But everyone I know is sick all the time, and I'm never sick. I don't take any medication or anything. And I'm telling people, it all adds up. You know, they
Yes.
think, you see, it's like the thing, people going to McDonald's, and it's like, if I go to McDonald's, if I'm stuck on the motorway and there's nothing and I'm starving, I am dying sick. Because I eat so healthy, I react straight away. But when you're not
Yep.
eating healthy or you're not using the right products all the time, you don't get the reactions. Like one time, like I use natural kind of soaps and I just forgot to get it. And I just got one in a little, it's like an alternative to Aldi. And straight away my hand breaks out in a rash. And it's like
Yeah.
when you can see, if you start looking after your body, you know what's actually working. But unfortunately, most people, they just chug through life and think, oh, it is what it is. I'm just sick. I've got all these ailments. And the reality is, like, I remember reading is it the Wheel of Fortune or the Wheel of Health? And a doctor that was studying the people in the Hunza who were living the oldest, and it was all down to food, crop rotation, so they weren't taking all the minerals out of the soil. And like, you were people living to over 100, they weren't next to hospitals or any medication or not jabbed to the hilt. And so
Yep.
it's like, it's all down to food.
Yeah. I don't think we've almost got this point where I don't know how it is over there, but in America, it's almost like once you hit 60, it's like, oh, well, you're just done. You know, you're just old now. So you're old, decrepit, you have no energy, your body's falling apart, and that's just how it is. It's like, no, it's diet, it's all these pharmaceutical drugs. It's, you know, I the generation, like the boomer generation here, is so drugged by pharmaceuticals. It's really, it really bothers me because it's like that's all these doctors do is just go prescribe you medication, and then you have side effects from the medication, so they give you another medication, and it just adds up to this point where these people are just like zombies walking around. And it's like we have this whole generation of people that is just walking zombies. And occasionally you'll get one here and there. It's like this is what you should be at 65. Like you should still be working out. You should still be out doing things. Like you're not dead just because you're 60 or 65. You know, I don't know. It's one of those things. It's like people just want to listen to the doctors. People want to listen to the experts. I try to explain this to my mom and dad all the time. And it's like, well, my doctor didn't say this, or I running that by my doctor, and my doctor said that's crazy. I'm just like, okay, that's they listen to me a little bit because for the first year when I changed for my health, they're like, oh, Nick, another little fad, he's just gonna give up after a little while. And once they realize, they're like, oh no, he's serious, he's gonna do this, they kind of started listening to me a little bit more and started taking some good supplements and started changing their diet a little bit. It's not perfect obviously now, because I mean, when you get to the point where you're 60 years old, you don't want to change, really. That's just like you're kind of set in your ways. Like it really, really takes a lot of motivation in yourself to want to change. And you can't force anybody to change, because I know I've everybody I've listened to and talked to with health, they all go through this phase when they totally transform their health and they change their lifestyle and how much better they feel. They want everybody else to feel great. So you kind of just go around like, you got to do this, you got to do this, you got to do that, you got to stop taking this. And it doesn't work, because everybody else around you is like, has a reaction like, I don't want to change, I don't want to do that, I don't want to eat green food. But it's like you have to just lead by example. And that's the biggest thing I try to do, is just like, okay, if I take care of my health, I do all the things I need to do, everyone else just kind of follows. And once I started doing that, that's when I started seeing people really start to change and really get inspired and want to change their, do things for themselves. And so you really have to lead by example. That's really important.
I heard you talking about our buddy Bill Gates with the mosquitoes, because I had heard about that, but I didn't hear anything further about it. So we just let people know, first of all, what they did, and then kind of what happened afterwards.
Yeah. So Bill Gates, everything kind of gets pushed onto Bill Gates. I really think he's just the money man face to a lot of it. It's not like he's sitting in the labs doing it, but he's been kind of the fall guy. But basically they released these GMO mosquitoes into I believe it was Florida and Texas here in the United States. And everyone was like, okay, why are we doing this? Like, what are we doing here? And then everyone just kind of forgot about it because, you know, like everything else in the news, you see it in the news, you forget about it the next day. And months later, everything was like earlier this year, all of a sudden we saw news articles come out of Florida and Texas. Malaria pops up for the first time in decades. And it's just like no one gets this correlation. You know, I actually, it was a photo where it had like different news articles laid over top each other. The top one was like, you know, we haven't seen it, or no, there's like a vaccine for malaria that they want to produce. Bill Gates wants to produce GMO mosquitoes, releases GMO mosquitoes, malaria seen for the first time in decades. You know, oh, malaria vaccine's ready. It's like, or medication or whatever it is. And it's like, okay, well, you can see how they do it. You can see how they do it right in action. It's, you know, but Bill Gates says he calls mosquitoes basically flying syringes is what he calls them. So the idea that you can vaccinate somebody, which what does a vaccine even mean more, with a mosquito, that's like his wet dream. He's like, I can vaccinate everybody like this. But, you know, to me, it's like, where's the consent there? Because I'm sure, like, you know, this is a consent-based realm. This is a free will realm. We have to consent to whatever they want to do to us. But then it's like, okay, well, if we see the article and we don't do anything, is that consent? You know, I don't know where to fall on that, but it's like, because nobody can force us to take the vaccine, which we only have to go into the vaccine. I know you've talked about it plenty with other guests and stuff. So it's, no one can force you. No one's coming to your house and making you take it. You know, this is one thing that a lot of people have come to grips with. And I kind of have to be that guy and tell people, like, nobody forced you to take it. Like, no one put a gun to your head and say, you have to take this or I'm going to kill you. Like, yeah, you got threatened with your job, you know, you got threatened with whatever, but it's all threats. Like, even then, it's not, they didn't kill you. It's not the end of the world. Like, you take this shot, you will likely die at some point. Well, I mean, obviously you're going to die at some point, but like, it's going to give you turbo cancer, whatever it's going to do. But no one's forcing you to take it. And there's so many instances where someone quit their job because they didn't want the jab, and then they go on and do something way better. You know, they do what they want to do. They get to start their own business. So it seems like when you stand up for what's right, you kind of get rewarded in this realm.
So with the products then that you started taking, you might tell me the different type of products and what are the benefits, because you said they're all natural.
Yeah. So when I started, we have a bundle called the Super Detox Bundle, which is basically our Green 85, gut detox, and toxin detox. The Green 85 is just like a greens powder, you know, like you've seen a lot of greens powder. Because I was taking athletic greens actually for like 2 months before I found that, and I mean, it was okay. You know, I saw little improvements, but it was like $100 for a bag, which was crazy. But I heard Tim James on a podcast. It was actually a tinfoil hat podcast, because I love Sam Tripoli, so I found him on there, and then just I got the Super Detox Bundle, and it was, yeah, the green powder, gut detox, toxin detox. Basically, the toxin detox is like a heavy metal detox. It has like zeolite in it. Just a whole, there's like 15 different herbs that, you know, cilantro and all this different stuff that's just good for detoxing heavy metals and every other toxin, really. And then the gut detox, which obviously clears out the gut, gets all that going. And it's yeah, like I said, it's all natural. There's no additives, there's no fillers, there's nothing crazy in it that is gonna, you know, give you any side effects or something. But it works. Like, it really blew my mind after that first month how much better I felt. Like, I even had my kid do it. Like, after I did that first month, I bought a bundle for my kid, and she did it, and she was like, I feel smarter. Like, that was one of the first things she told me after that month, was like, I feel smarter, I feel snappier. And that was one of the first things I noticed. Like, I felt like my brain was just working better. Like, I was working at that time at the machine shop, you know, you drop stuff and, you know, all the time, and my reaction time getting things, it was like my brain was just reacting better. Like, it just felt snappier, I had more energy. Like, I had really bad gut problems at that time too. Like, really, like, I had stabbing pains in my gut occasionally and stuff. That all went away. I stopped getting headaches. So I really think a lot of that was just heavy metals and toxins in the body. You know, years of drinking Red Bull, all those toxins adding up, and, you know, aluminum deodorant and all that. And, you know, I still see improvements now regularly from doing the sauna, and I still take the products and all that regularly because, you know, I work there, so I get them. But it's just a continuous improvement because there's so many heavy metals in everything nowadays. I never was drinking like tap water. That's one of the best things my dad ever did was get a reverse osmosis filter or like whole house filter at the house, purification system. That, I mean, that did wonders. That was huge. But yeah, heavy metals has a lot. I think heavy metals has a lot to do with depression too. Just kind of getting there. It's just not, the brain's not clicking on all cylinders. Yeah, whatever they're spraying in the skies, the nanoparticles, because those lodge straight into your brain.
And that's another thing. I constantly doing videos, and all people are doing is looking at me like I have two heads. And it's like, I even have the freedom of information where the British, they've actually said they're doing it for climate change.
Yeah.
So they're admitting it. And there's people have went up and they've took the particles, and it's all toxins, and that's going into our water. It's going on to our plants. Like, I'm noticing there's a lot less wildlife. I'm seeing trees dying that you shouldn't be dying, but yet people think, no, there's no way they would do that. But they're telling you they've got all the patents and everything, and it's like,
yeah.
So with the gut, because I've got a few people now that I know are really struggling with gut health at the moment. Like, one guy, he's like, he gets foggy, and it's like he just doesn't know, and like the other person is, they're just doing a food log, and they're just getting all tests coming back there. They haven't a clue. How is it working? What exactly is in it? What's it doing? Because I know, just for those that might know, most people, when there's something going on, they get pumped with antibiotics, which in turn is killing all the good bacteria in your stomach. And then it's a knock-on effect. And this, I mean, it's been proven there's a connection between the stomach, the heart, and the brain. Like, they're all connected. But so how is it working? What exactly is in it?
Yeah. I can't remember. There's 3 main ingredients in the gut detox. I know one is amla berry extract. Let me grab the bottle quick. I can't remember offhand. Oh.
And just for those listening there, like, I've read books on the gut health as well, so that's why I kind of understand how the antibiotics has destroyed a lot of people's gut health.
Okay, so yeah, the gut detox is amla berry, haritaki harde fruit, and bibitaka fruit. Which I don't know too much about the last 2, but I know amla berry is widely used. This is basically like an ancient Indian formula.
So it's like a tablet that you're taking, or what is it? A powder that a tablet? Yeah,
just a capsules.
And how often do you take it?
So the gut detox, when you take it initially, you do basically a 15-day detox where you take 3 in the morning, then 3 at night. I take it I basically just take 3 in the morning every day. That once every few months, I'll do a 15-day detox just to keep everything cleared up. But basically, you do that 15-day detox, and then you just kind of maintain it from there. But it was really gentle, like, no diarrhea, no issues like that. It was surprisingly gentle. Like, it was really good. But really, the best thing you can really go do is colon hydrotherapy session. If you can find a colon hydrotherapist near you, that's really the best way to do it. The gut detox is basically for people that don't want to do that or don't have access to one or something. But it does work. It does work great. So,
and
yeah.
Are these products available internationally or just in the States?
Oh yeah, they're available internationally. We ship around the world.
And what's the kind of price of, say, the gut one?
They got one, I think it's 57 offhand. If you do like a subscription, it's 50.
Or for a month supply, is it?
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah, and everything's, it's pretty fairly priced considering, because there's a lot of, once I really got into supplements and started researching more other ones, there's a lot of ones out there that are not great, or they use synthetic vitamins and stuff like that, and they cost way more. This stuff, it works. Like, we really stand behind our products here. Like, Tim actually offers a double your money back guarantee. So if you take your products, if you do like you go to the doctor, you get like a blood test done, and you check your levels and everything. And if you take the products and you don't see improvement afterwards, he'll double your money back. So he really, really stands behind the product because it's all natural. When it's natural stuff, it just does what it's supposed to. There's no side effects. Everybody's bodies are different. So some people have some people take the gut detox and get backed up. And it's like, okay, if that happens, you have to go do colon hydrotherapy session. Because if you're that backed up, you just, nothing's going to push it out, So,
And with like the other one as well, getting rid of all the metals, toxins, and stuff like that. What about parasites then? Do they cater for the parasites? Because apparently we all have these terrible parasites that affect our mood and everything like that. So just curious, is there any of them that are dealing with parasites?
no, it's not really for parasites. We actually have a parasite formula that will be coming out hopefully in the next month. Which is basically, it's going to be basically a tincture, an all natural tincture. But what some people have done where it's just cleaning up the body is really because all these natural products are doing is giving the body what it needs to do it itself. So it's not like a product is like, okay, this is going in and just knocking things out. Because that's what a kind of a pharmaceutical drug does. It goes in, it reacts a certain way to, whatever it is and kicks that. This is like, gets your body nutrients, gets vitamins, gets everything it needs to flush everything out itself. One of the biggest things we've seen for parasites people is like a fulvic bath. You look like much into like fulvic minerals, fulvic acid.
I haven't come across
No.
that.
So it's basically like composted plants and stuff over like thousands of years, like really, really pressed, condensed plant matter. And it just has a number of benefits. Like it's really good for soil, but it's also really good in the body, increases oxygen levels in the body and all that. But we've seen people that if you do like a bath soak in it, and you only need like 2 tablespoons of it just soaking in that, parasites have literally just fallen out of people's bodies. It's pretty wild.
And is that something you can just get on the internet or something? Or where'd you get that?
Well, we're working on getting a bath product coming out, but there used to be a company that had it. It was called like Black Oxygen Organics, I think, here in the United States, which is basically like a powder product that you could buy. And they made the mistake of making some claims, even though that a lot of the claims were true. Frankly, they got shut down because of that. So I don't have a alternative for that. Like we have a fulvic acid product, but it's just a capsule. It's not one to like put in a bath, which our product is amazing for that. It's called Super Soldier. We actually have a whole bunch of like MMA and UFC fighters that take it because it helps with endurance, helps with oxygen, helps with recovery. So it's pretty good stuff. I haven't taken it and done like a bath with it. I've done a few like foot soaks with it, but yeah, it's pretty useful stuff. Yeah, parasite thing that was really crazy. It's I couldn't imagine. I did one parasite cleanse last year. I didn't see anything out of it, but it's hard to know because there's obviously like larvae and eggs and stuff like that could be in your gut that you can flush out. But
yeah, I did
like
one with a
real big ones.
frequency device. So basically, I went to a place, and I mean, I have got the spooky too, but it's I went to a place, and basically they have on the computer they can just through the frequencies tell you all the different ones that you've got, and after a few sessions, then kind of zap them all, and I did feel a lot better after it, and this yeah, but I think it would be 100 times better to be able to get the product that you're just taking something and that you're killing anything that shouldn't be in your body basically, because then you're just you're not crashing, you're not getting negative thoughts or anything like that. And I think it's just a combination of everything that that you do.
Yeah, the parasites are. I mean, it's really freaky listening to the stuff people talk about parasites because it's like they can be in your brain, they can be in your gut, they can be like anywhere in your body, like they can be in your brain, like affecting how you think and stuff. Like it's really crazy. It's kind of like freaks you out when you first think about it. It's like, what do you mean these things are just like crawling around in my body, just chilling, eating my food, and yeah. But
I think the craziest thing I saw was that one of the parasites goes into the snail, and it basically takes over the brain of the snail. It does it to other animals as well, but basically starts making it flash. So then the birds come
like
and kill
the
it,
eyes go,
and then it goes into the bird, and then the poop goes on, and it's just a continuous cycle. And it's like that's how intelligent the parasites are.
Yeah, the crazy one is too. There's that, but there's also like the ants, where it's like I think it's actually a fungus. It's like getting to the ants.
Explodes.
Yeah, they go like way to the top of the colony, it explodes out, gets all the spores everywhere. It's like that is terrifying. That's actually, I think that's a cordyceps, right? It's that's what the show The Last of Us, I guess it's a game too, but the show The Last of Us is about. It's basically the cordyceps mushroom mutating because global warming or climate change or whatever, and then adapts to humans and starts taking over humans. Like, God forbid that would happen, but I don't think it's possible, obviously, but yeah, that'd be terrifying.
With the craziness in the last few years, and I know there's a government document for kind of zombie apocalypse, and you don't know what they're planning because they do so many kind of terrible things. I wouldn't put anything past them, to be honest.
I've seen a lot of stuff here and there. There's been like different media about it. I've seen articles about it where basically they're insinuating that global warming, it could melt the ice, and then there's going to be some life form under the ice that's going to get out and infect people, like this virus frozen for thousands of years or something. I keep seeing that theme kind of thrown out randomly over the last few years. So it's like, is that something they're trying to do? I don't know, but it'd be a good excuse, because that would give them a reason to shut things down medically, and then also give them an excuse for climate change and global warming, because it's like, well, global warming caused this, so we have to lock all of you down forever and you can't use any carbon. That's kind of how they want to game things out.
But I mean, it's not lies as well. NASA doctoring all the figures. I mean, any pictures I've seen from 100 years ago, the water levels are the exact same, and you've got like all these rich people with their properties on the coast. You can be sure they wouldn't do that if they were worried about sea level rising. So it's all a farce. It's all a farce.
It is. Yeah.
So
there's a good image of New York where it's like you see the Statue of Liberty and it's like 1918, and then it shows 2018. It's like the exact same.
Exactly.
My favorite is to go back where it's like it's basically a just a sheet where it just has all the way back to like the 60s and 70s, where it's like, oh, by 1975 the ice caps are going to melt. By 1978 we're going to be underwater, and it's just like all these lists of things, all these lies that they told over 50 years, and none of them came true. We're going to run out of oil by the year 2000 or something. It's like,
global cooling, global heating, then it became climate change, and it's like, Time magazine and all these things. But listen, Nick, thoroughly enjoyed the conversation, and I mean, like in a maybe kind of next year sometime when all the other products are there, maybe come back and talk about them, because I mean, to me, health is wealth. It's like a lot of people, they're trying all these different things, but when you know something is good for that, especially for the gut health and getting rid of the heavy metals, I know it's a good thing. So where's the best place people can actually find you?
So my personal website for my microgreens is www.creationsbackyard.com. A little bit of play on my last name. Chemical Free Body is chemicalfreebody.com. That's pretty much it. My podcast, I'm working on rebranding and kind of redoing things. I have no graphic design skills, so my podcast is very crude in the image and all that, but it's Proclaim Emancipation. I'm working on more getting it back into that. Hopefully I have some people actually on my podcast too, because my podcast has been literally just 32 episodes of me just talking. So, but yeah, you go check out Chemical Free Body. I'll make up a promo code for this. Actually, just use promo code Awakening. You'll get 10% off whatever products you want to use there. So
perfect.
We have bundle specials there, so you can get a bundle and then use a promo code, so you save for the bundle and then save for the promo code. So if any have any questions, I'm the customer service guy there too. So if you want to call, I'll be the guy that'll answer and I'll help you out. I also am working on doing coaching and stuff too. So
excellent. Okay, I'll make sure, Nick, that I put the links both on the audio and the video. Thank you very much.
Okay. All right.
So that's all for the Awakening Podcast. You'll find all our episodes on awakeningpodcast.org. Until next week, take care. So I hope you enjoyed this week's episode. Be sure to give us a thumbs up, 5-star rating, and share with your friends. And you'll find all my shows with the QR code or bio.link/podcaster, as well as my podcast coaching. And I'd like to thank my sponsor, DanielPacker.com, helping people with anxiety, stress, and addictions. He's got a 90% success rate, and you only pay if you're successful. Also, if you'd like to go on a podcasting tour, I can help you do that. And if you're interested in sponsorship, you can contact me on my bio.link/podcaster. Until next week, take care.